don't worry, we're going to sing a little bit at the end. So a little twist in the layout of the service today. But before I get rolling in today's message, I just want to shout out everybody who's joining us online. And I normally focus my attention on you guys in the room, but there are more people who will watch and listen to this message online than the people that will experience it in person today. Isn't that crazy? And so we have people who are probably in the gym right now, being healthy, running on the treadmill, watching or listening to this. We have some folks in Aruba, Doug and Lael, who are watching this, and I am not jealous. Are you? Anyway, but for all our online family, can we just put our hands together and just thank them for tuning in? Thank you guys for tuning in and watching. All right, so here's how I want to start this brand new series, and it's a question, and if you're online, you can comment and put your answer in the comment box, but my question is, what's one thing in your life that you can't really live without? Now, you can, all right? It's not like it's impossible to live without, but you don't really want to live without it. Now, I know we're in church, and so I know some of you are like, well, the one thing I can't live without, Joe, is my Bible and that show, The Chosen, okay? And yes, I got you, all right. I'm talking a little less spiritual. I'm talking about I can't live without the seat warmers in my car. How many of you love those butt warmers? Come on. I'm talking about I can't live without local off-season specials at the restaurant around town. Cheap people unite. Or I can't live without my dishwasher. Aren't you grateful for appliances, people? So I'm talking about things like that, okay? Just a little less spiritual. But if there's some things that you just can't really live without, I want somebody or a few people to just shout me down with what it is. Coffee. That was the first thing they said in the last service. Coffee. Everybody raise up your coffee cups. Yes. What else? Come on, don't be shy. What? They said cats. They said cats. We're a church that allows anyone to come, okay? Somebody said dogs. That's right. That's right. Anybody else? Last call? Music? Music. Gotta have music. I love that. Okay. Well, no, music. What? Did somebody? Oh, okay. Yeah, I see you. Okay. All right. So for me, you said pizza last service, brother. Yeah, that was a good answer right there. For me, one thing that I can't live without, but I really don't want to live without is my RINs kit. Does anybody have one of these? No? Well, can I sell you one of these for $179.99 right now? Okay, this is a portable, pressurized, heated shower that you can take to the beach with you, and when your kids are covered in sand and snot at the end of a beach day, you just power wash those little stinkers and throw them in the car, and your car stays clean. Glory, hallelujah, praise the Lord. Am I the only neat freak in the room that's also OCD? Is it just me? I'm a neat person, and I do not like that the letters O, C, and D are not in alphabetical order. I don't know who came up with this. But anyway, so I can't really live without my RINs kit. And let me tell you when it should come in handy. My family has this tradition that my brother came up with. And every January 1st, we go swimming in the ocean for fun. Okay, and I don't know who invited my brother into our family, but this is my least favorite family tradition, swimming in 40-degree water on January 1st. And so if you're taking any applications for a new family member, I would like to join your family, all right? And so the only reason I'm able to get through this jumping in the water for fun on January 1st is because I fill this thing up with 90-degree water so that my family can have a nice warm shower. And really, when I say my family, I mean me. And so on January 1st this year, I'm driving my family to the beach. It's literally snowing. You ever driven to the beach to go swimming when it's snowing? I have. And so I'm like, this is a terrible idea. But we get to the beach and we take a picture. You got to take an obligatory picture. We'll throw up here. Aren't you cold just looking at this picture? Also, I'm wearing a Ravens beanie, and no, I'm not ready to talk about it, all right? After this picture, we all jumped in the ocean. It was the worst moment of all of our lives, but we're running back to the car, freezing to death because we're going to get a nice warm shower, and that's when the RINs kit decided to break. And I'm not kidding, my wife, this is the first time she's done the swimming in the ocean in January. She is like trying to use the shower. It is not working, and she's like, Joel, you had one job. She literally thinks she's dying. So she's like, Joel, I'm about to cry. And I'm like, I'm colder than a iguana in the North Pole. I can't fix this. My dad was so cold, he lost his glasses in the Atlantic Ocean when he jumped in. But he's standing in the parking lot, just like walking around. like this. It was like, anyway, terrible tradition. You should join us next year. But my point is, this is my second rinse kit. Because they are great, but they don't last. They break. They are not reliable. And isn't it true that things don't last as long as they used to? Isn't that true? I mean, our hot water heaters break down, our cars break down, our HVACs break down, our washing machines break down, our dishwashers break down. I'm pretty much just giving you my life story is what I'm doing. Now, did you know, and this is true, you can research this, did you know in the 80s, you know how long refrigerators were built to last? 25 years. Somebody said forever, basically the same thing. 25 years. All right, you go to Sears in the 80s, your refrigerator is probably going to last you 25 years. Today, do you know how long refrigerators are built to last? 10. And 10 sounds a whole lot like 3 to me. You know what I'm saying? Some are like, where can I get a fridge that lasts 10 years? I'll buy them all. But the thing is, a lot of things are not reliable nowadays because things break down and they let us down. Isn't that true? And I'm not just talking about rinse kits and refrigerators. I mean, our bodies break down. Hello. Our politicians let us down. Our relationships let us down and break down. Our football teams definitely let us down. And Eagles fans, I don't even want to hear it today. Okay, so anyway. But let me give you some good news, because all that's kind of like, oh, I'm glad I came to church today to hear all this bad news. But God is 100% reliable. And let me tell you this, God will work when you need him to work the most, unlike my rinse kit. And so today we're starting this 4-week series called Introducing God, and I'm psyched about this series because every week in this series, I'm going to introduce you to a different name for God that we find in the good book. And so each week we're going to cover one of the names and one of these names, and you'll find out some characteristics about God through these names that I think you're going to want to hear about. And so today I want to introduce you to the God whose name is Jehovah Jireh. Everybody say Jehovah Jireh. Very simply, this means God provides and God is reliable. So I was thinking that maybe GE should make a fridge model number Jehovah Jireh. How many of you are in? You're going to buy this? I'm buying all of them. Now, to set this up, I want to take you to the very beginning of the Bible. If you're not familiar with the Bible, the first book is the book of Genesis, and we meet a guy named Abraham. And maybe you've heard of Abraham, okay? Because Father Abraham had many sons. And many sons had Father Abraham. I am one of them, and so are you. So, just wanted to see who went to Sunday school. This is a section over here. And so if you didn't go to Sunday school, no worries. When we meet Abraham, God promises Abraham that not only is he going to be the father of many sons, he's going to be the father of many nations, including Israel. Little tiny problem. Abraham has no kids. And Abraham is old. Okay, I'm talking like older than a GE fridge from the 80s. He is old. And one day, though, him and his old wife, Sarah, they find a Marvin Gaye album and a bottle of wine. That's not in the Bible, all right? But in their old age, they get pregnant, and God provides them with a son named Isaac. Everybody say Isaac. Now we're going to fast forward. Isaac now is older, and that means that Abraham is even older. I mean, old. We're talking like Aaron Rodgers old. Old. And so that's where we pick up this story. Genesis 22, starting in verse 1. If you don't own a Bible, we always give them out for free every Sunday. There's a ton of them in the lobby, so grab one. But in the meantime, here's where we pick up. Sometime later, God tested. Everybody say tested. God tested Abraham's faith. Abraham, God called. Yes, he replied, here I am. Take your son, your only son, yes, Isaac, whom you love so much, and go to the land of Moriah. Go and sacrifice him as a burnt offering on one of the mountains, which I will show you. Everybody say, what? Listen, if you just listen to what I just read, this is crazy town. For a couple reasons. Number one, because God is totally against child sacrifices all throughout the Bible, because duh. And also, God promised Abraham many sons, or many nations through his many sons. You can't kill the first one, because duh. And so, God, what are you doing? And here's what I've learned in my faith walk. Okay, we'll put this on the screen. A lot of times, God tests our faith before he releases our blessings. Have you noticed this before? A lot of times, God tests our faith before he releases our blessings. Like, for instance, me standing on this stage right now was a test from God. And I don't have time to totally unpack this, but just real quickly, being a pastor was not part of my vision for my life. This was not on my bucket list. I didn't put this on my dream board for 2020, whatever. And so I am an introvert with a business degree that loves to be behind the scenes. This is not exactly that. And I don't want to freak you out, but 12 years ago, I felt like God said to me, hey, Joel, I have a test for you. I want you to be the pastor of a church in a basement with about 20 people. And I was like, are you off your rocker? And I told God no, a lot. So, how many of you ever told God no before? You ever done this before? I was like, no. And finally, I just wore out a nose, and I was like, okay. 12 years ago. And over the last 12 years, this has been one of the greatest blessings of my life. Because a lot of times, God tests us before he releases his blessings in our life. And so for Abraham, God's test was, all I want you to do is give up the thing that you love the most. I want you to put me first. And if you're a Jesus follower in the room, if you're a Jesus follower and you're watching online right now, that's a test we face all the time. Like, hey, who are you going to put first? Me, myself, and I? Or God, Jehovah Jireh, our provider? That's a test we're all going to face every single day. And so I just want to give you two things we're going to learn out of this story as we continue to unpack this story. If you're taking notes, the first thing I want you to write down is this. When we're tested, trust that God will provide. Trust that God will provide. Now, we were tested the other day because my wife, Stacy, she was at a Dollar Tree. Is it Dollar Tree? Is it? Okay, I always get Family Dollar and Dollar Tree mixed up, But we were at Dollar Tree over here in Midway. When I say we, Stacy was there because we're trying to save some money because we got to buy a third rinse kit, people. So she's shopping her heart out at Dollar Tree, and this is true, some lady runs in, and she's like, oh my goodness, some old lady just ran into one of the parked cars in the front of the store. Guess whose car that was? Dollar Tree just turned into $2,000 Dollar Tree. Yay! And the lady, she left after she hit the car. Now, I'm going to give her credit. She did come back. She gave her insurance information, but then she said, I have to leave because I can't stick around for the cops because I got to feed my dog. Well, at least it wasn't a cat. At least it wasn't a cat, right? Anyway. So I had to take Stacy's car to Cambridge to get it worked on. Don't ask why Cambridge, but I had to take it to Cambridge, so I'm on the other side of the world. And her insurance company provided us with a $22.50 allowance for a rental car a day. Which will get you about a 1984 Ford Fiesta. Woo! So I'm at the body shop meeting with the Enterprise guy. And the Enterprise guy's doing the whole walk around with the rental car thing. He's point out anything on the outside of the car that's, got any dents or scratches. I'm not kidding. There are at least 10 dents on the outside of this car. I'm like, what do you all park this at the driving range at the golf course during the week? Then we get in the car, and no judgment if you're a smoker, but I'm pretty sure that the Marlboro man owned this car. I think I have lung damage right now. And so this is not made up. In the driver's seat, there are 2 giant holes from cigarettes. And the guy says to me, hey, Mr. Tice, we have a very strict rule. You cannot smoke in this car. I'm pretty sure the lady before me did not get that memo, okay? And so anyway, at the end of this whole thing, the guy said, okay, I need you to give me your driver's license. I need to confirm your name really is Joel Tice so you don't steal this car. Listen, guys, I was not going to steal this car. I thought about walking home from Cambridge is what I thought about doing. Okay, I think if you put a free sign on this car in the poorest country in the world, everybody just walk right by. I ain't getting in that thing. But my point is, our names matter today. And names definitely mattered in the Bible. Now, I'm going to give you a bit of a spoiler alert. In this story with Abraham and Isaac, that's when we're introduced to this name of God, Jehovah Jireh. Why? Because God is going to provide for Abraham. So let's go back to the story. You have Abraham and Isaac. God asked Abraham to sacrifice his son Isaac on this mountain. And so they start mountain climbing, okay? So they're on the third day of mountain climbing. And this is where we pick up in verses 4 and 5. It says, on the third day of their journey, third day of climbing Mount Moriah, Abraham, he looked up and he saw the place in the distance. Stay here with the donkey, Abraham told the servants. The boy and I will travel a little further, and we will, what will we do there? We will worship there, and then we'll come right back. I don't think it's going to be we, but okay. Fun fact, if you like Bible trivia, this is the first time in the Bible where the word worship shows up in the whole Bible. And it shows up in Abraham's worst moment of his life. And I think for a lot of us, what we think worship is what we just did. It's when we sing. Now, some of you were singing today. You were singing, okay? It sounded good, and we're going to sing a little bit at the end of this, okay? But here's the thing. We think worship is just what we do on Sunday mornings in the basement for 20 minutes at, 9:45, right? Or we think worship is just listening to the Bridge radio station on the way to work, driving our 1984 Ford Fiesta. But here's the thing. The first time that worship shows up in the Bible, there's no music. No music. Chris Tomlin wasn't there. It's just Abraham, Isaac, and Abraham is having the worst moment of his life. And the way he worshiped is he was willing to give up what he loved the most to God. That was his worship. And what's our takeaway? What do we do with that? Well, I thought of this week, and I think our takeaway is this. Turn your worst moments into your worship moments. Come on, turn your worst moments into your worship moments. And this is going to sound crazy, but God provides when we do this. And maybe you're in a worse moment right now. Maybe you're in a worse moment with your business. Maybe you're in a worse moment with your health or with your relationship. Or maybe you're in a worse moment with raising your kids. Or maybe you're in a worse moment with your football team. Where are my Ravens fans at? Okay, yeah, listen, it's a worse moment kind of right now. But I thought about Commanders fans, and there's always somebody who has it worse. Sorry, man, I'm sorry. All right. But for real, what do we do in our worst moments? We turn our worst moments into worship moments. Now, obviously it's going to be hard. But if God really is our provider, and I think he is, if God really is our provider, what better moment to worship him than when we need him to provide for us the most, right? And so turn our worship moments into worship moments. Now, sometimes worship is you singing a worship song in your car on the way to work or in a basement. But sometimes worship is you just saying over and over and over again, God, I trust you, even if you don't, until you maybe start to believe it. Sometimes a worship moment is you climbing a mountain that's in front of you that you don't even know why you're having to climb this and why God asked you to climb this, but you keep climbing and climbing and climbing because you know that God will provide. And so speaking of the mountain, this is Abraham and Isaac. They're climbing this mountain. They're on their third day, and they get to the place where they're going to do this sacrifice. And so they're building the altar. Isaac is literally carrying wood for the altar on his shoulders, and he looks at his dad, and he's like, hey, Dad, where's the animal? Everybody say awkward. Very awkward. And in the craziest, weirdest scene in the Bible, Abraham ties up his son, Isaac, and he puts him on this altar. He lifts the knife. And by the way, none of this is parenting advice, all right? So do not write any of this down. But here's what happens. This is interesting. Verse 13. This highly intense moment. Then Abraham looked up in the middle of this moment, and he saw a ram caught by its horns in a thicket. So he took the ram and he sacrificed it as a burnt offering in place of his son. Abraham named that place Yahweh Jireh, which means the Lord will provide. Come on, somebody. I mean, this is a mic drop moment. Isaac's like, no, this is a knife drop moment. Okay. But let's recap. Okay, Abraham was tested. Abraham gave up what he loved the most, and God provided. So Abraham named that exact spot Yahweh Jireh. And don't miss this, okay? And we'll put this on the screen. Yahweh Jireh literally can be translated to Jehovah Jireh. And Jehovah Jireh means the Lord will provide. If we can throw that on the screen, okay? Yahweh Jireh is a translation issue why it's Jehovah Jireh versus Yahweh Jireh. It's the exact same thing. That means the Lord will provide. And so that's who God is. Now, this fires me up. But let's rewind for a second. Because the not good or the not fun thing to think about with this is, Before God provided for Abraham, Abraham had to give up what he loved the most to God, right? Can I make a pastor confession to you guys? Is that okay? Are we friendly enough that I can just say something honest? I'm not there yet. Like where I want to give up the thing I love the most to God. Like, does anybody just love giving up what you love the most? Who loves it? Who loves it? Just like, yes. No. And I think a lot of times we think God's testing us. Like, I think the test is like, should I tithe or should I not tithe? Or, the test is, should I stop sleeping with my boyfriend and girlfriend until we're married? Or should we just keep on, woo? Okay, I won't do that dance again. I'll move over here. All right. Or should I delete the sports gambling app that I'm losing my shirt on? Or should I put all my money against the Steelers losing tomorrow night? And we think that's the test that God's given us. I got bad news. It's way, 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 way worse than that. Because God doesn't just want our money or our sexuality or our vices or you fill in the blank. He wants our whole life. But the good news is God provides when we give him what we love the most. God shows up when we give him what we love the most because he is Jehovah Jireh. Have I introduced you to him yet? He is the one who provides. And so maybe you're being tested right now. Maybe you're being tested in your faith, or maybe you're being tested in your health or your mental health. Maybe you're being tested in your money or your job or your relationship or your marriage or your singleness. Maybe you're being tested as a parent. Parents, how many of you have felt tested before? Just raise your hand. All right, that's just a poll to see who all the parents are. If you weren't raising your hand, you don't got kids, okay? And I got a 10 and 12-year-old. I'm like, Lord, this is a test. And I've had everybody else tell me, listen, you're just getting started. Anyway, but what do we do when we're being tested? We worship in the worst moments. Why? Because God is our provider. He's going to provide because he has to. That's who he is, okay? And maybe you need to hear this, and we'll put this on the screen. Jehovah Jireh means he's my provider, so I trust him. Jehovah Jireh means he's my provider, so he won't abandon me. Jehovah Jireh means he's my provider, so he knows what I'm facing. Jehovah Jireh means he's my provider, so I'm not alone. Jehovah Jireh means he's my provider, so I'm going to worship through the worst moments. He's my provider, so I have nothing to be afraid of. He's my provider, so it's not all on my shoulders. And he's my provider, so no test is too hard for me or him. Aren't you thankful? That's who he is. All right, now if you're taking notes, here's something else to write down. When we're tested, compare your problem to God's power. Or I could say, your problem is nothing compared to God's power. Now, speaking of comparison, I'll kind of lead into this slowly. Back in November, my in-laws took my kids to somewhere new for them. They took my kids to the mall. Now, if you were not around in the 1900s like I was, then you were very confused. Like, what is a mall? And let me just tell you how my kids kind of described it. They're like, Dad, there's this giant building with a lot of shops inside the giant building called the mall. Do you know about it? I'm like, listen, I know more about the mall than anything else in my life. How many of you, you remember going to the mall back in the day? Oh, yeah. Come on, let's just go through this. Who remembers Orange Julius? Who remembers the food court where they would give out free samples of Chick-fil-A and the Chinese food? Come on, hit up those free samples. Who remembers Spencer's Gifts? Oh. Just seeing who we need to pray for. Call you. Some of you are like, yeah, oh. Anyway, so my kids go to the mall, and my boy Nixon, he finds the skateboard shop. And somehow in November, he convinces his grandparents to buy him a skateboard for Christmas that he gets right then. I'm like, that's a talent, okay? You work them over. And so anyway, this is my boy Nixon's skateboard that he got in November for Christmas. And so he came home with this. He's all excited about this. And here's what's interesting to me. When I think about what my boy Nixon, who's 10 years old, what he is into now, and when I compare what I was into as a kid, it's scary how similar we are. Because when I was a kid, my favorite store in the old Salisbury Mall was the store, The Connection. Anybody remember The Connection, the skateboard shop? No, okay, listen. Oh, yeah, there we go. All right, I love the Connected store because it was a skateboard store, just like the store my boy Nixon went to. And so I love to skateboard, just like Nixon skating. Now, Nixon, he spends hours in our garage working on his tricks. When I was a kid, I spent hours in the driveway working on my tricks. The other day, Nixon said to me, he's like, Dad, Vans are the best shoe on the planet. I'm like, I own all the Vans still right now, okay? And so because of mall nostalgia and watching Nixon, guess what I asked for Christmas this year? And Santa delivered, people, because this is my skateboard that I have renamed health insurance. Because I'm going to need a lot of it. I have no reason to be on this skateboard. By the way, this is a ramp that I will never use that this thing is actually connected to. But I tell you that story because when you compare what I was into as a kid and what Nixon is into now, it's scary how similar we are. And sometimes when you compare things, it's scary how similar they are. Now let's go back to Isaac and Abraham. When you compare Isaac's sacrifice to Jesus' sacrifice, it's scary how similar they are. Let me show you, okay? So before the sacrifice, both Isaac and Jesus offered their life. On the way to their sacrifice, both carried wood on their shoulders. At the time of their sacrifice, both were only sons. Some people believe that they were the exact same age, 33 years old. I can't tell you for sure. That's not provable. But after their sacrifice, both their lives were restored. Isn't this crazy how similar they are when you compare the two? But it gets even crazier. So just buckle up in the back, okay? Buckle up. Let me show you. All right, this is in verse 14. It says this. Abraham named the place, now let's pause for a second. The place where the sacrifice happened was on Mount Moriah. Everybody say Mount Moriah. Abraham named that place Yahweh Jireh, which means the Lord's will provide. To this day, people still use that name as a proverb. On the mountain of the Lord, it will be provided. Now, let me tell you, let me nerd out on you for a second. Here's what else happened on that same mountain, the exact same spot where Abraham tried to sacrifice his son Isaac. That's the exact same spot where a guy named Solomon would build the temple in the Old Testament. It was at the exact same spot where this whole situation with Abraham and Isaac happened. But wait, there's more. Because there's a spot on Mount Moriah called Golgotha. Everybody say Golgotha. Golgotha, does anyone know what happened there? That's where Jesus was crucified on a cross several thousand years later. On the same exact mountain. By the way, if anybody ever, like if you go to Jerusalem and you're like, someone's like, hey, let's climb Mount Moriah, and they tell you to put like some wood on your back, don't do it. A lot of crazy stuff happens on this mountain. But let's go back after we know that this is the same mountain. It said Abraham named the place Yahweh Jireh, which means the Lord will provide. To this day, people still use the name of that proverb as a proverb. On the mountain of the Lord, it will be provided. Because on that mountain, God provided for Abraham. On that same mountain, God provided for Isaac. And on that same mountain, God provides for me and for you and for all of us because he provided his son as a sacrifice to provide for our forgiveness. That is a mic drop moment. And so that means this, and we'll put this on the screen. On the mountain of the Lord, grace is provided. On the mountain of the Lord, forgiveness is provided. Comfort is provided. Healing is provided. Hope is provided. Joy is provided. Love is provided. Protection is provided. Strength to push through your test you're facing right now is provided. On the mountain of the Lord, second chances and third chances and 793rd chances are provided. And on the mountain of the Lord, the exact thing you need the most when you need it is provided. Why? Because he's Yahweh Jireh, which means Jehovah Jireh. He is our provider, which means, okay, here's what it means. It means you are going to be okay. You're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. I'm going to end with this story. I'm a Hall of Fame worrier. Not warrior, not like warrior. Worrier. Okay, I would bet you a Enterprise car that smells like smoke that I can out-worry all of you. And I know some of you are going to come up to me in the lobby after church and be like, okay, Joe, well, don't be anxious about anything, but by prayer and petition with thanksgiving in your heart, okay, listen, I know. I'm going to throw a bag of Fisher's popcorn at you. I know. But I'm working on it. But I worry all the time. One of my biggest worries in life is if something happens to me, I want to make sure my wife and my kids are provided for, like they're okay. Like let's say, for instance, after church, let's say, I don't know, I'm driving to Royal Farms to get a Mountain Dew. So this is a hypothetical, okay? This is made up. And somebody runs over me. Probably a Steelers fan. That part's probably true. Like if I were to I want to make sure that my wife and my kids are provided for. Like I worry about that. And so I have conversations with Stacey all the time about like, what do you do if something happens to me? Like I quit. She loves these conversations. They're her favorite. And I've also let her know that if something ever happens to me and I die, that I'm okay if she gets remarried as long as the person is wildly unhandsome and smelly and not funny at all, because I want to be the favorite forever. Hello. Anyway, so because I'm so worried about my family being provided for, I literally have an emergency file in our safe at home that has a letter to my family letting them know I love them. And it also has in there all of our money information, our account information, our will information, our insurance information, all these things. And some of you are thinking about like breaking into my house tonight. Okay, but I got to remind you that I have a dog named Charlie. And you do not want to meet Charlie. He is a little stinker. Anyway. But I worry about them being okay. And so sometimes I quiz Stacey and I'm like, okay, honey, like if I go to the Heavenly Inn and you need to know our bank account information because you went down that non-food aisle in Aldi again, where do you go? Where's all that information? Or like, if the house burns down and you need to know where our insurance information, where do you go? You go to the fireproof safe. And the reason is because I just want to make sure they're taken care of. And this week I felt like the Lord said to me, Joel, if something happens to you, they're going to be okay. Like, I've already been providing for them. I'm going to keep providing for them. I can provide for them way better than you can provide for them. And so just chill out. They are going to be fine. And it gave me so much comfort. And then I thought, wait, am I going to die soon, Lord? But here's the thing. I don't know what you walked in here worried about. I don't know if you walked in here in a worse moment or a best moment. I don't know if you feel like God's testing you in some area of your life. I don't know if you even believe in this God that I tried to introduce you to today. Here's what I do know. I do know that He is our provider. That's just who He is. It's in His name. He is Jehovah Jireh, our provider. And so when you compare your problem to His power, you are going to be okay because He's Jehovah Jireh.